So we will continue our discussion on economy. We are in the module monetary system in India, and we have talked about different types of money in the first session, and then we have talked about different types of bank accounts. And in this session, we are going to discuss about the most important concept, that is money supply. Okay, so we just started off with money supply in the previous session. What is money supply? It is a total stock of all types of money. That means currency and deposit, both including held by public at any point of time. And I've told you what I mean by public, except government and the banks. Okay, every other entity is actually considered as public. Okay, why not government? Because government create money. Why not banks? Because banks create credit. Okay, so RBI is part of government. I have already told you. So this is what we have done. So money supply simply means currency plus deposits. Okay, so this is what we have discussed, or it actually shows the total purchasing power in the economy. So money supply is actually showing you the total purchasing power of the economy. So in this session, we will talk about different concepts of money supply. I'll talk about what is M1, M2, M3, M4, broad money, narrow money. All these concepts will be covered. And every year they used to ask questions from this area. That's for sure. Last year 2 questions was there. Okay, so let me start with the first one. That is our concepts of money supply. The monetary aggregates is what we are going to discuss. The first one is M1. What is M1? M1 is, actually we have discussed different types of deposits here. We have discussed this deposits, right? We have discussed about time deposits. Okay, we have discussed about demand deposits, and we have discussed about total deposits. So there is no need to have any confusion there. And we discussed about savings account, current account, fixed deposits or recurring deposits. So in savings account, you can see there is a portion of demand liability or demand deposit and time liability, that is time deposit is also there. Deposit is what the liability of the bank, but deposit is not only the liability. There are many other liabilities also for bank. So when we say total deposit, we can say it is a deposits, but when we say total liability, it is not equal to total deposits. There are some other liability also for the bank, like rents, okay, the salaries, all these are liabilities of banks. So demand liability portion, time liability portion, both are there in savings account. Only demand liability is in current account. Upon demand, you can withdraw the money. And in case of fixed account, only time liability. So this is what you need to know. And now we are going to discuss about the different concepts of money supply. The first one being M1. What all things will come in M1? Firstly, currency. The currency held by public. Okay, so I've already told you what I mean by public, but here I need to go for some more explanation for this. We'll do that. So first of all, currency. Then you have demand deposits. So when you talk about demand deposit, you look at this. What do you mean by demand deposit? Here you have a demand deposit. Here you can see part of savings account and part of complete current account. Okay, so that is a demand deposit plus other deposits. So these are the 3 components which comes in M1. So as I have told you, C is the currency held by public. DD, demand deposits, the total demand deposit. You can see here there are 2 types of demand deposits, in savings account and in current account. Both we are taking. So rather than telling total demand deposit, we will always say net demand deposit. Okay, net demand deposit. The reason why we are saying net demand deposit is because there may be some banks may kept money in some other banks, so that interbank money deposits could be avoided. Okay, because it is already deposited by someone and this bank is depositing in some other bank, that has to be excluded. So we won't consider it as total deposit. We would be saying net demand deposit. So here, otherwise, if you see demand deposit, I'm talking about total demand deposit, but some banks might have deposited in some other bank. SBI might have deposited in ICICI. ICICI must have deposited in Punjab National Bank. So that interbank transaction must be excluded. So we are going for net demand deposit. Now what do you mean by this OD? OD is the other deposits. So other deposits include those deposits which are there with RBI from some individuals or some financial institutions. Some individuals can have accounts in RBI, like ex-RBI governors, they can have account in RBI, so they might have deposited, and IMF, World Bank, those deposits may be there in RBI, so that will be part of other deposit, but that is negligible. So effectively M1 is currency plus demand deposit or net demand deposit, other deposit being negligible. Okay, now I have already told you this is net demand deposit. So time deposit, if you see, you can see here, I'm just explaining this part again. In savings part you can see time deposit. In fixed deposit also there is a time liability. So together we call it as, we won't call it as total time deposit, we call it as net time deposit. Okay, so we call it as net time deposit, just like we have called it as net demand deposit. So together, if you see, we have discussed total deposit here. Somewhere here we have discussed total deposit, right? Total deposit is what? Demand deposit plus or time liability portion, or every total deposits, right? TD plus DD, time deposits, and DD, demand deposit, is what your total deposit. So here when you go for total deposit, it is net DD plus net TD, that means net demand deposit, net time deposit, which we cannot call as total deposit, rather we call as net time and demand liability. Okay, so net demand and time liability, so net demand and time liability, this is what NDTL. Now onwards we are going to explain some major concepts in terms of NDTL. So NDTL means what? It is actually total deposit only, excluding that interbank transactions. So it is net. If interbank transactions also included, we call it as total deposit. Okay, so here we are excluding that because banks are not considered as public. See, in this RBI other deposit, we are talking about the deposits in RBI, but remember, banks will keep some amount in RBI. Banks can deposit in RBI, but that we are not including here. Why? The reason I have already told you, banks are not part of public. Okay, so when we talk about money supply, we are talking about public. Public means RBI, the government, and the banks, excluding everything. So here other deposit means, I've told you, certain individuals who keep accounts deposit in RBI, or some institutions which keep in RBI. Not the banks, we are not including here because banks is not considered as public. So this concept also, why we call it as net demand deposit, I hope you understood. We are excluding that interbank transaction. Net time deposit, so effectively total deposit will be net demand and time liability. Okay, so net demand and time liability, why we are calling, but when we talk about NDTL, so here what we have excluded is the interbank transactions. Okay, so M1 is called, M1 you can see here, this is 100% liquid. You can see here, upon demand you will get this currency, 100% liquid. Demand deposit, you go to bank, ask the money, you get it, because complete current account you can withdraw anytime. Parts of savings account, that is part of demand deposit, you can withdraw anytime. Other deposit also, but this is being negligible, not much important, but just for theoretical purpose I am explaining this. So M1 is the most liquid money, which is called as narrow money. Narrow money, narrow you can see small. Okay, so narrow money, which is 100% liquid. So you will get questions like this, which all elements are included in narrow money. You can see the most liquid elements like demand deposit, okay, currency, etc. are part of narrow money. Or which one among the following is 100% liquid money, most liquid money? M1, M2, M3, M4, it is M1 or narrow money. So I hope this is clear for you. Let's move on to the next concept, that is M2, or let me write here itself, M2. M2, see, it is similar to M1 plus one more addition is there. So as of now M1 you understood, so I'm just writing over that only. M1, M1 means currency plus demand deposit, that means net demand deposit plus other deposit, plus here I'll talk about savings account deposits in post office banks. You can see here we have discussed about post office banks, and I have told you different accounts are savings account, fixed deposits, recurring deposits. So these two are not demand deposits, right? That is fixed deposit. So that is time deposits or time liability. Savings account, whatever money is there, that will also be added now. Okay, so that is your M2, M1 plus saving account deposits with post office banks. So I hope this is clear for all of you. So effectively now, if you expand this M1, what is this? This is currency plus demand deposit, net demand deposit plus other deposits plus savings account deposit with the post office. So these are the four elements which are coming in, M2. Okay, so I hope you understood M1 and M2. Now let's move on to M3. So if you understood M1, I'm connecting everything with that only. It is easy and you can remember it in this order only. M3 will be, I'm making some more addition to M1. So let me write M1 first. So M1. Now what we missed out in M1, we have taken the most liquid money, right? We have talked about currency. We have taken demand deposit and other deposit. What we left out? We left out time deposits, right? The net time deposits is what we left out. So we are going to add the time deposits. So these are two different types of deposits, right? So here we have taken this demand portion. We have taken this demand portion. What we left out? We left out this time liability, this time liability. Together we make it as, total time deposits, or we would say net time deposits. I told you why we are calling it net. Okay. So plus M1 plus time deposits or net time deposits. Now what is this? M1, we can just expand this, just we have done in case of the second one, currency plus demand deposit portion plus, let me write this TD here before this OD, time deposit, okay, then other deposits. So these are the four elements which comes in M3. Now you can see here, this is demand deposit, this is time deposit. We can club this together. This is the total deposit, and I've already told you demand deposit and net time deposit together you call as NDTL. So here this one, if you want, you can replace as NDTL. So which is equal to currency plus NDTL plus OD, other deposits. And other deposits is being negligible. If you want, you can remove this also. So what do you mean by M3? M3 is the currency which you have plus all the deposits. Whether it is demand deposit or time deposit, both are included. Other deposit also is there, but negligible, as I have told you. So just remember, currency plus all deposits is your M3. Now can you withdraw entire amount at single go? No. So it is not liquid. So M3 is not liquid, and you can see that order. M1 is the most liquid. This is not that liquid. Okay. So this is known as broad money. This is known as broad money. You can see here, this is much broader, right? Here currency plus all deposits are there, except the deposits in the post office bank. So here currency plus all deposits. So it's a very broader concept. So we call it as broad money. The first one being narrow concept, so narrow money. So simple. Now next one is M4. So if you understood this three, then there is no problem with M4. M4 is obviously whatever we have discussed now, that is M3. Plus now what we have left out? We have left out with the deposits in the post office. Okay. So we will write here total deposit with post office banks. So M4 means every deposit is included. So M1 is currency plus demand deposit plus other deposit. M2, M1 plus the post office savings account, which is also a liquid one. Third one, M3. M3 is M1 plus what we have added, time deposit, or we can say currency plus all deposits excluding post office. Now here M4, currency plus all deposits including post office. Okay, so it is as easy. I'm repeating it again. M1, currency plus demand deposit and other deposit. M2, M1 plus saving account part of post office. M3, M1 plus time deposit. That means currency plus all deposits except post office accounts. M4, currency plus all deposits including post office account. That means M3 plus total deposits in post office banks. So I hope this 4 concepts is clear for all of you. There is no need to have any confusion from here onwards. Any question from this could be attempted. You don't want to remember this. You understand the logic, you understand the concept. First one is most liquid, last one is least liquid. So in case of liquid money, what all contents has to come? That is what you need to know. Okay, so only demand deposit portions are there. Towards the end, you can see all the time deposits is also added, so it is less liquid. So it has to be very clear now. Okay, so when we say money supply, what you mean? Generally, we mean this M3. That includes almost all the deposits. So money supply, when we talk about, we basically talk about M3. Okay, so M3 actually shows the total purchasing power in an economy. So it shows the purchasing power in an economy. Okay, so now what will happen? Purchasing power, if it is increasing, just common sense, purchasing power is increasing, then what will happen? Demand. What will happen with the demand? Demand will increase. So demand increase means what will happen? See, this is how we have understood now. This is a demand curve, this is a supply curve, there is an equilibrium. Now there is an increase in demand, so demand curve shift rightward. What will happen? So there is a price. So price actually increased, right? So price increasing means, how will you write this? Inflation. So inflation. Now to control inflation, what you have to do? To control inflation, what you need to do? You have to reduce purchasing power. You have to decrease purchasing power. So here purchasing power increased, so demand increased. So demand pull inflation. To tackle that, you have to decrease the purchasing power. How you can do that? You have to reduce money supply. You have to reduce money supply, and RBI take contractionary measures. We'll be discussing that shortly. Contractionary measures to reduce money supply by using CRR, SLR, okay, repo, reverse repo. All these tools will be used, open market operation. All this can be used to suck out money from the market so that money supply will reduce, purchasing power will reduce, demand pull inflation may be tackled. Okay, so this is how it is going on. Now one more concept that I want to discuss here is reserve money. Reserve money. It is also known as high-powered money, or it is also known as primary money. Okay, it actually means, it is reserve money. Why it is called as reserve money is because all these cash reserve ratio is part of this, right? So those money which is reserved, it is actually currency only. It means currency only. Okay, so let me write that. It is the total stock of all currency. That means all the notes and coins, all currency held by the public in banks at any point of time. Okay. So it is actually the total stock of all currency which is held by all entities except government. Okay, so it is the total stock of all currencies held with all economic entities except government. We have discussed the reason. Government is the creator of money. So why it is known as reserve money? As I have told you, this is kept as reserve in reserve bank. So it is known as reserve money also. Like RBI have to keep CRR like 4% etc. So cash reserve ratio. So it is known as reserve money. Now why it is known as high powered money? High powered money because see, if you have 100 rupee note, let's say 100 rupee note is there. Effectively, what is the value of this? I have already told you here. Government is printing 100 rupee. You can see here, and government buys something from A. So 100 rupee transaction first happened. 100 rupee printed, 100 rupee worth item was bought. Then this A is investing in depositing in SBI. SBI keep that necessary requirements of statutory requirements like 20% they'll keep to manage CRR etc. And then they have to lend. That is what the banks do. So 80% they lend. That means 80 rupee they will lend. So B will borrow that. B will buy something from C for 80 rupee. So 180 rupee transaction is done now. Remember, currency printed is actually 100 only. Okay. Now C will deposit in another bank, Punjab National Bank. Now Punjab National Bank also keeps something with the bank to meet the statutory requirements. and will lend rest of the money, that is 64 rupee, and D will borrow that. D will buy something. So you can see here as of now 244 rupee transaction happen, and E will deposit that in ICICI Bank or some other bank. Generally I'm talking, these are examples, and this process continuing. And we have discussed already, if 100 rupee printed, effectively the value created is 560. So that is the reason why we are talking about high powered money. Even though 100 rupees printed, currency in circulation is having high power. 560 rupee power is there because of money multiplier concept. I'll be discussing the concept now. So 100 rupee printed, money supply is actually 5.5 times. Okay. So I've told you this is known as reserve money. Understood? High powered money because of primary money means two types. No, the currency is there and deposits are there. So here we are talking about currency. Currency is the primary money, deposits are the secondary money. So here we are only talking about currency. So that is why primary money. So now no need to have any doubt here. So what is M0? M0 is the currency. This currency stands for all currency in circulation. Okay, it includes currency with public and banks, all the currency included. So this is the currency. So here I am talking about elements which are coming. So I forgot that. Okay, C plus R plus OD. What is R? R is the cash reserve of banks with RBI. C is the currency with public and banks. R, the cash reserve of bank with RBI. This is other deposits. Okay, so this is what reserve money. Okay, or primary money or high powered money. Now what do you think, which one will be broader, M3 or M0? Which one is broader? In M0 you can see reserve money, the currency and OD, but M3 will be much more broader than M0. The reason is, see, the deposits will be much more than currency held by the bank, right? Because most of the deposit bank won't keep with them, they will lend it. So if you see the balance sheet of a bank, it will be like this, right? So balance sheet, there will be liability side, there will be asset side. So let's suppose deposit is 1 lakh. Okay, so the liability is what? Liability is 1 lakh because deposit is 1 lakh. After some time, let me see, 1 year passed, the deposit remained, the deposit is 1 lakh. Okay, now let's see the assets. So when this deposit is coming, cash in how much? 1 lakh. So asset increased. Now what will happen? You have to keep some cash with bank, like let's say 30% you need to keep in terms of, you need to buy the government bonds. So 26% you'll spend for SLR and 4% CRR. So 30% you'll keep. So you'll keep 30,000 and you will be lending how much? You'll be lending 70,000, right? So what is M0? M0 is the cash which is kept with the banks. Okay, that is this 30,000. So M0 is 30,000. But what is M3? M3 include the deposits, that is 1 lakh. Okay, so that is what I have told you. Deposits will anyway much more than the currency held by bank. So bank try to keep less currency because keeping less currency will increase the profitability. More lending will increase the profitability of the bank. So M3 always greater than M0. Okay. Now let's look into the relation between money supply and reserve money. Relation between money supply and reserve money, or money supply and M0. So the formulas are directly give you that money supply equal to M into M0. M0 is the reserve money that we have discussed now. MS, that is the total money supply. M is the money multiplier. Just before I have told you 5.5 value, that is money multiplier. So M stands for money multiplier. Now the value of money multiplier is 5.6. What does that mean? You printing a currency worth 100 rupee. So M0, let's say 100 rupee. Money multiplier is 5.6. Money supply in the market will be 560. This is what I have explained through the credit creation process. So this is how it is actually happening. You printed 100 rupee, but the money supply, once this government circulated that 100 rupee, the actual worth of that 100 rupee will be becoming 560 because of this money multiplier. Okay, so till now up to demonetization, government printed around 22 lakh crore. Okay, up to 22 lakh crore money was printed. So what is the money supply? If you see this, 5.6 into this, right? 5.6 into 22 lakh crore, that will be around 120 lakh crore. So 120 lakh crore is the money supply. That doesn't mean that 120 lakh crore is printed. 22 lakh crore is what actually, I'm talking about till demonetization time data which is available for me. Okay. So what is money multiplier? Money multiplier, or M, is equal to the ratio of money supply to reserve money. So MS divided by M0. This way also you can write, or money supply equal to M into M0. This way also you can remember. Whatever it is, the ultimate concept is 100 rupee printed, 560 is the effective money supply. 5.6 times is the effective money supply. So that's all what I want to explain here. Now the money supply depends on what all things. This question was also asked. M related, one question was asked, M3 or M1 was asked. Then money supply concept was also asked. See, the value of M depends on what? Money supply is M into M0. This value of M depends on what? Value of M depends on, you see here, this 100 rupee printed. So A got it. Now, if A is not depositing in SBI, A is keeping it with himself. Do you think will it circulate in the market and will increase the money supply? No. So most importantly, the most important factor is actually the banking habit of the people. Okay. So banking habit of the people. If you are keeping it with you, there is no increase in money supply. If you deposit in bank, it will circulate, it will come into the circulation again and again. So banking habit of the people is more important. This was actually the answer for the question. This question was asked in 2019 prelims. Direct question. Banking habit of the people was one of the option. So if you would have attended this session, you would have answered it properly. And then monetary policy also. Monetary policy, but most important one is this, banking habit of the people, and answer for that question was actually banking habit of people. Okay, there was one more option, cash reserve ratio, but that is part of this only, but still I will go for this. Banking habit of the people is more important, because if you are not circulating, if you are not depositing, it won't come in circulation. Simple. So I hope this is clear for all of you. If you have any doubt, you can get in touch with me here. This is my Instagram ID. Join this Telegram channel. You'll get all my videos on history and economy. Okay, so see you guys. Thank you.